It's going to automatically go to Twitter, but I'll explain. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Knots versus Core Debate. We are here with Knut, and I can never pronounce your last name.
Svanholm. Knut Svanholm.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah. And this is going to be episode 5 of Bitcoin Knots versus Core version 30. And we're going to have a discussion. We're going to probably be more driven into the economic realm or whichever direction you want to take it. And once again, we will have a challenging episode. This episode, we are here with a very pro-Knots person, so we can't get accused of, we're going to try to alternate pro-Knots, somebody trying to defend Core, and just to provide people with more information to make the right decision. How's the audio? How's the video, guys? Our internet here is not good at all. So I'm going to keep an eye on that while Knut does an introduction. I'm going to do a quick screen share for him, and let's go from there.
Yeah, this is Core versus Hats.
Yes.
Debate Plebslop edition from the National Palace. Yeah. Oh, fantastic. This was good. Yeah, I'm... what do I do here?
Okay.
I introduce myself.
Let me do. Wait, hold on. We're trying to do a million things right now. I wish this room had doors.
Yes.
Stop sharing. Let's share the screen on this side. Just introduce yourself. This is probably your first time on the show.
Yeah, we did one. You and I did one back in.
It was a while ago,
we've done
right?
2, I think.
There we go.
Okay. The earliest one we did was when we announced Bitcoin Infinity Day back in 21. You remember that in Mexico?
Okay, cool. Jimmy, you're retweeting.
Oh, good.
All right, perfect. Tag me and tag Knut, and then we'll retweet once it comes out. Okay, so go ahead and do an intro of yourself and what you're known for in the Bitcoin space.
Yeah, so I've written 4 books about Bitcoin now, and one about praxeology, the science of human action. And I'm probably most known for the everything divided by 21 million thing. Yes, and my other books, my first book was called Bitcoin Sovereignty Through Mathematics, and that is one of the 5 first books recommended on MicroStrategy's website. So I think that's another credential introduction thing. Latest one is called Bitcoin, the Inverse of Clown World. And that's
nice.
Bitcoin, everything divided by 21 million.
I don't think I have that one. I have this one for sure.
Yeah.
And you have another website that will eventually pop up.
There's our shop where you can buy the books for sats, and we also sell some other Bitcoin authors' books for sats. We helped Larry with his book a bit, and so you can find the big print there for sats.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, and
nice.
7 DAS, that's what we got now. The printed version of the first edition of Bitcoin Times, and yeah, a couple of other things coming down the pipeline. I also do some lectures about praxeology and done a couple. The plan is to turn that book into a product soon for Plan B. So that's what I'm working on right now.
Okay, awesome. So here is, there is Jimmy's tweet, and we are gonna like it and retweet it. And feel free to do the same with your phone if you like.
Yes.
All right, and we're gonna give you the floor. We're gonna let you talk about how you see.
I don't know how I did that.
Did what?
It just
canoe. Okay. You can still edit it, right? Yeah. Jimmy's gonna edit the tweet.
All right.
Wait, but if you edit it, do I have to retweet it after? We'll find out.
Maybe.
Well, Knut is gonna be surprised. Oh no, you can't have a Twitter handle that short. So I don't. No,
You can.
there is. I can.
All right, I changed it.
Okay, that's
You
fresh.
changed it. Good. So let's see. Yeah.
All right, I'm not sure our internet's that great, to be honest.
It's
Like,
not,
this is
but
not,
people are hearing us and seeing us. So
okay.
let's retweet this properly. My retweet, I believe, is potentially gone. So we will do it again. Repost. There it is. All right.
There we go.
All right, we're all set.
All right.
Okay, so now we're gonna come off screen share. Guys, please like, subscribe if you aren't, and retweet so other people get to see this awesome interview. It's already
A
starting.
little presumptuous
Great.
there,
Yeah.
Tom.
We'll get there.
Set the
All right,
tone.
let me stop sharing. Actually, I'm just gonna go here. Perfect.
All right,
All right,
there we go. There we
Okay,
go. There we
now
go.
we can
All
just
right.
stop. Well, look, our microphone is actually in the computer, so
All right,
it's
so
not
we
leaning
have
back
to-
too far.
All right, we have to lean
So,
in.
as long as the audio is good, I have the live chat there.
Audio
and
sucks,
I am
somebody
gonna-
said. Okay.
Audio
Okay.
sucks.
Yeah.
I tested my other mics this morning, and they were actually worse, unfortunately. So
All right.
Um,
Leaning in more.
I was like, okay, we'll do our best.
Yeah.
You sure you don't want to have my mic? It's a USB-C.
We can try it. You got to get sure. All right. Well, Jimmy's gonna grab mics while Knut, the floor is yours. Tell us, just speak your mind on whatever you want to discuss in the Knots versus Core, and then the discussion is gonna begin after that.
Yeah. So the order of importance of things, I think, is
You can speak up a little louder.
Good way to start. So the way I see it, it's the most crucial thing is to educate people about economics and make sure that
Just speak loud.
yeah. So
Look at the camera. You have to look at me.
teaching people why shit coins are shit, or like there's so much economic illiteracy out there, and the only thing that would make you buy a shit coin or an NFT on Bitcoin or any stupid shit like that is because you don't understand.
to USB-C cable.
Yeah. So maybe we should get this started first.
We're winging
I'm
this,
gonna-
guys. Like, that's just how it is.
I'm gonna lose my train of thought if I try to do two things at a time.
There we go.
All right, hold on. Let us switch mics and see if we can do something better here.
All right, so we got two. Got those.
How's this?
All right.
Better?
Is this better, guys?
We'll wait. So now we have. I'll just hold it. So right here. So is this better? If it's better, we can move the computer back. We could slide back.
Audio good. Audio good.
His audio was fine, but how is it now? So let's give it 30 seconds.
His audio was fine.
Sounds better
audio-
than the AM radio.
No, I know, but that's still the old audio, right? We want to make sure that these mics are working better.
Dude's audio is fine.
That's yellow.
Yes, better, no echo. Great.
All
Okay,
right,
so
all
now we
right,
can
all
sit
right.
back and relax.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so you were talking about, Bitcoin staying pure, no shitcoining on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
So go
Okay. I'm gonna go deeper, I guess.
Yes.
So
Always go deeper.
the starting point is so why the Satoshi is sacred, for lack of a better word. It's a good word, actually. So I'd say the whole thing about Bitcoin that makes it different from everything else is that it cannot be copied. Like the ability to move the Satoshi is the thing that is uncopyable from a subjective perspective. So if you keep a secret from other people, if you have your private key, the location of the private key or the seed phrase or whatever it is, that's what gives you the ability to move the Satoshis. So the actual usefulness of the Satoshi is not in the UTXO, it's not what's on your screen, it's actually in your head. So this is the thing I think that makes Bitcoin different than anything.
We're getting
else.
really philosophical.
We're
here.
getting philosophical,
But keep in mind,
just fight
right,
foundation
but
here.
keep in mind, you are speaking to a mature, advanced Bitcoin audience,
Yes.
right? So
that's-
assume you're speaking to someone that understands how to run a node.
All right. So, what is a node? Is the node the hardware and the software? So, is the node your Start9 running Knots, or is the node your Umbrel running Core 30? Not really. The node is the guy that or girl who decides to buy the hardware and run the software.
Okay.
Because it's predicated on human action. So it's not really backed by, you can't really say that Bitcoin is backed by energy, it's backed by human action. through a way of using energy. So I'd say that Satoshi is a bit like Robert Oppenheimer. He found a way to change human incentive structures by figuring out something about physics, how to harness the power of physics to change the human incentive structures. But it.
We got to get back to knots.
All right. So Oppenheimer did that in quite an aggressive way, or a way that is violent at its core, with the atomic bomb, while Satoshi provided us with like the perfect armor to shield ourselves from attack by making the attack less profitable. So the way I see it, like if you think far ahead into the future, maybe this isn't practically true now because Bitcoin is so new still, but if someone points a gun at your head and says, so if I threaten you, Tone, and say, give me all your Bitcoin, you can give me a fraction of what you own, and I, as the attacker, have no ability of knowing how much you actually had. And that's true for every single potential victim I have on Earth right now. I cannot prove that someone does not own a Bitcoin. Like, since it's just a secret.
No, dude, I don't want to be a dick, but every single person watching us knows this.
Yeah, good. But I want to lay this very a foundation like this, because I don't think there's so much talk about paper Bitcoin and stuff right now, and ETFs and strategic reserves and stuff. So people have sort of lost what makes the Satoshi special. And what I'm getting to is that any other thing, any other so-called intellectual property, cannot really be owned in the same way that a Satoshi can be owned. So a Satoshi.
Agreed. Jimmy, you agree?
I don't think there's any controversy in what you've been saying so far. I mean, the big thing is, give me the economic rationale for knots,
okay.
right? Like that's the side you're on.
Let me jump into another way of saying it. Everything you just said is true. So assuming we all agree, why are these Satoshis and runes and stamps and what else is there, wizards or whatever the hell they do, why is that stuff bothering you? Because at the end of the day, you know it's all going to be worthless. And all those people are just trolling, and they'll eventually either quit or run out of money or get frustrated. And why are we getting frustrated instead of just ignoring them because they will get priced out?
Yeah, that's a good question. I'll try to get to the point sooner because I'm like laying too much groundwork here. But I need to do some more groundwork. Like owning one of these ordinals or stamps or whatever is a bit like owning a star in the Andromeda galaxy. So someone fooled you that you could buy a star in the Andromeda galaxy. And what makes the star in the Andromeda galaxy unownable is that you have the same ability to do anything with that star as everyone else on Earth. And the same is true for data on Bitcoin. If it's on the time chain, everyone can see it. Sure, you need a third-party website to actually turn it into a JPEG, because Bitcoin doesn't do that, because Bitcoin doesn't care. But the point is that you don't really own it, and it's not attached to the Satoshi. You can't attach things to Satoshi, at least not within the Bitcoin system, not without using a third-party website. So what these scammers are saying is like, oh, okay, we want people to use this telescope that is for everybody to look at the Andromeda galaxy, and we want to sell you a planet in the Andromeda galaxy, but we also want to draw a dick butt on your telescope and make the telescope worse for everyone forever while selling you that.
But how? How are they making it worse for everyone forever?
So there's the...
and I'm not expecting you to give a technical coding definition,
no,
right?
Okay.
Just
the practical...
like a practical layman's version.
Yeah, so that boils down to what is money and what ought money to be. So we have now fiat money, and we all know what's wrong with it. And they are printing more of it, diluting its value, so it's not a good store of value, or as I prefer to call it, a medium of exchange over time anymore. And what happens then is that people use other things as stores of value, like fine art and real estate. And the more real estate gets used as a store of value, what money should do, the worse real estate becomes as housing for human beings, because the billionaires buy out all the beachfront property and you can't afford a house anymore. So it's actually the fact that the real estate is being used as a store of value, that is the thing that makes it worse as housing. But what people don't realize is that the same is true for money in reverse. So when money is used for any other use case than just medium of exchange over space and time, it gets that worsens it as like it gets worse as money. So because it gets mispriced. And in Bitcoin, it's even worse because it's also embedding a lot of transactions that didn't have to be there and that have no valid real reason for being there.
Okay, so I'm going to comment on this.
Yeah.
By the way, for those of you that are confused, Knut is very pro knots. He's not pro removing the op return limit.
Well, I'm pro not changing Bitcoin without everyone thinking that it's a good idea.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that part. But the argument you just made, honestly, you're going to hate this analogy. Sounds to me a lot like the argument Dashjr was making. That Bitcoin should be a medium of exchange and not store of value. That's what I think.
No, that is not what you heard. You
misheard
completely misheard it.
Yeah. What I said was I dislike the term store of value because I prefer the term medium of exchange over space and time. I think the dichotomy between store of value and medium of exchange is completely false. You need both for a money to be money.
Sure, agreed.
The medium of time over space is trading with one another. Medium of exchange over time is trading with your future self.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's not saying one or the other or whatever.
No,
but basically, if I'm understanding your argument, Knut, the basic thing is that if you degrade Bitcoin with stuff like like ordinals and stuff like that, you're making it less useful as its role as money. I think what I'm hearing.
Yeah.
Is that right?
That's exactly right. I mean, I think it's Hoppe's definition of money that it's the best form of insurance you can have future. The best way to insure your wealth into the future, which means it needs to be medium of exchange over space and time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And the argument that you made before is that with something like real estate, it becomes less useful as a house as people use it as an investment. And you're essentially making the inverse argument that as Bitcoin becomes something other than money, that its role as money diminishes as well.
It gets mispriced.
Mm-hmm.
That's what slightly.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one effect that I don't hear very much about.
Okay. Okay. Fair enough. So what's the mechanism by which the mispricing happens? Because as we've seen, we have not full blocks, right? Which means that any transaction that wants to get in essentially gets in. This isn't talking about like when blocks are full. But like, what's getting mispriced here? Because those transactions are getting in because there's not enough demand for block space.
Yeah. So I wouldn't say that like the first order effects might not be the important point here, because there are second and third order effects. As you know, like I know several people that have chosen not to buy Bitcoin because this war is going on right now.
Okay.
And I think everyone should be happy that this war is going on. This means that Bitcoin is functioning, that it's a lot more people are running nodes now. A lot more people are watching stuff like this and doing their homework. A lot more people are getting engaged, and that's what we want. Like, so Bitcoin has always been chaotic like this. The thing I think that the thing that makes me lean towards the not side more than the core side is that they're not seeing the inscriptions as a bug anymore. And I think like core 10 years ago would definitely have treated it as a bug that needs to be fixed. And if I'm correct, and this is above my pay grade technically, but that Luke proposed a fix to the Taproot thing, right? but Core neglected that. And
Oh, they didn't neglect it. It was discussed, and they chose not to.
they chose not to
To do it.
Yeah.
It's not like they
Yeah. But-
completely
so-
ignored it
no, no.
or.
But
Yeah.
the thing I really dislike about the direction they're taking now, and where I disagree with Merch, but by the way, great interview.
Thank you.
It is that there's not enough discussion about the empiricism has nothing to do with economics, and this surrender to the spammers and scammers instead of like constantly fighting them and constantly trying to fix the problem. Because if the problem persists, then it's a danger to Bitcoin. I may not necessarily buy the CSAM argument.
Well, what's the danger? So spell it out for us. Like, if these inscriptions and stuff go in, what's the danger?
And I had a different question. It's trying to fight the spammers is, to me, feels like that's what the Knut side is trying to do.
Yeah.
And trying to play this cat and mouse game is the tricky part versus what Core did. And they said, you know what, screw it. Like this thing has not killed Bitcoin. These runes and whatever happened during that, during the halving, where people were paying, thousands of dollars for a transaction fee, and miners were trying to find those rare sats. Like, okay, that happened. It was a weird things in the mempool for like a day or two. And then it's back to normal. The mempool's pretty empty. They don't want to fight these spammers. They don't see this as a big deal at all. And they just said, hey, here's your block space with consensus rules have not changed. And I'm sorry, Jimmy, you had your question?
Well, I mean, I'm just wondering what the danger is, like,
Right.
Because that's really at the heart of this thing. And this was something that Merch brought up, was what's the harm that it's going? What's the worst case scenario here? What is it?
And I hear this from core supporters all the time, is that, well, it's the filters aren't going to do anything. You're basically just virtue signaling. And I admit I'm signaling, but signaling is the whole point. Like if Core signals to the network that these things are okay now, and that we're actually going to install this trash can that we wish you'd use instead of doing the even more bad things, then we're catering to the will and the whims of shitcoiners, and we don't want them here. We want to fork them off and kick them out. And I think this BIP 444, dangerous as it may be, if it works, then it sends a very clear signal to all the spammers and scammers that, holy shit, this is not safe. We shouldn't do this, because real Bitcoiners are going to stop us from doing this temporarily. They're going to fuck up our business models for this.
Okay,
shit.
well, so that's sort of getting them to we're inflicting pain to them, but what's the pain to us? I'm still not entirely clear on what you think the consequences for Bitcoin are if you do allow these things, for example.
Well, it's a slippery slope thing, right? Because Citria, for instance, which from what I hear, they are the people that want specifically 100 kilobytes to be okay, because they want to do something twice a year to settle smart contracts or something.
I believe they want 144 bytes, not 100K. Yeah.
Not 100K?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but Citria, they're basically trying to build Ethereum on Bitcoin, and we shouldn't want that. We should I think most Bitcoiners, most people who hodl and are waiting to sell at some point Bitcoin, which is what it's designed for, they want to be able to send. They want to be able to not have their value diluted, and maybe they want some privacy on top of that, or like things like Lightning. But we don't want is like all sorts of other financial tools, and like developers once they want to develop. So if and they want to build things, and sure, go build things and use money to pay for those things, but don't build them on Bitcoin, because it's going to force every node to download this stuff forever, stuff that didn't have to be there.
I gotta stop doing that. Okay, so a couple of things. So we do have to clarify, and I think, Jimmy, we need to start clarifying this with every episode, because I'm still seeing comments where people are very confused. this removal of the op return limit will not increase the cumulative size of the Bitcoin blockchain. And in fact, an argument can be made that it would lower the amount of data that is stored on your node.
No,
Okay?
I don't think I agree with that, because on a short-term basis, you might actually get more data into the blockchain. So you're filling blocks with more stuff. Now
But you're not mining blocks any faster.
No. But you might have more in them. So the blockchain grows a little faster.
But why would you have more in them? Because if they're using more op return, they're using less witness data.
That not necessarily, because it's data that they might like just do not in lieu of putting it in the witness, but just like for trolling or whatever.
But again, a lot of people actually believe that this would require them to store like this would be like the big blockers. You need like a 100 terabyte hard drive to store a node because now they're putting so much extra data. The amount every block is still limited. That does not change.
That part doesn't change. And
people actually believe that this is going to make them store more data.
It is.
But not really though.
Yes, it does. Like, because if you have 100K op return, that's 100K more bytes. If that wasn't going to be in the blockchain at all, then that's 100K more bytes.
Now we're getting somewhere because this is you're arguing as if these are the two alternatives. But the whole point of fighting the spammers is to stop them doing the stuff at all, and then we get way less data. If we can stop them, and I think we should try. Then the blocks will be smaller.
Yeah, so I want to clarify something, because the argument that Merch made last time was on the margin. This is in a state where Bitcoin consistently has full blocks, which was the case, to be fair, for like a couple years.
Yes.
So like when that is happening, then yes, if you're using op return, it might actually shrink the amount of data that you might have. But the situation we have now is that we have largely empty blocks. So adding this this standardness actually may increase the amount of data that goes into the blockchain.
I agree with that, right? But we wish these blocks weren't empty. And we're already and everyone that is currently running a node should be disappointed.
Why?
Anyone running a node right now should be disappointed that these blocks are not full right now, because that means Bitcoin is not being used for money as we expected it to be used for fish. We all thought that Bitcoin would be way more adopted by now than it is, right? Now, blocks should be a lot closer to full. So we should be storing more data already. I just don't see the data storage argument as being a good argument as to running now. That's all I'm saying. Like, I'm not, again, guys, I am not pro version 30. We're just trying to, get a real dialogue going here. I don't see this will make me store more data as a legit argument coming from the Knots side of the debate.
Okay, so first of all, there's plenty of things I disagree with there. So let me argue for those. First of all, I don't think it's up to anyone of us to say or have an opinion on if blocks should be full or not.
No, I wish they were full.
Since I view hodling Bitcoin as using Bitcoin, because I think it's a very fiat-y thing to want money to change hands fast, and we have transactions in every block.
That's very Austrian of you.
Yeah, I don't think it matters at all. I think that's a fiat-y way of viewing the world. As I said,
specifically Keynesian.
Keynesian way of viewing the world. Who am I to tell others when they should use their money? Like, so I agree with if the blocks are full, then maybe this could even reduce the size, but I don't necessarily want the blocks to be full. The blocks are what they are. I want them to have only monetary transactions in them and nothing else. That's the point. So if they're smaller, and I hear this all the time, that we need to cater to miners. Miners need to make money. No, the difficulty adjustment works both ways, up and down. We don't need to think about the miners. We need to think about the node runners, because the miners are paid by the node runners, by the network, by all Bitcoiners to do this work. And if they're not satisfied, they can turn off their miners and not do it anymore. And thereby it becomes easier for you to participate in mining and decentralized mining. I don't understand why we should cater to miners' needs at all. They are the slaves of the node runners, and they should be.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I think that essentially the main point that you're making is that you want this to be a monetary network, and that and that all of this other stuff you should minimize as much as possible, on principle, because it's more the better that makes for a better monetary network.
Yeah. Let me steelman that just one bit more, and that is, everything that gets stored on this chain will be stored there forever. So it will increase the cost of running a node, and the less we increase that cost per time unit, the longer it will be cheap to run a node. So like, eventually this thing is going to be so big so that most people can't afford to run a node anymore, especially if we extrapolate like 500 years ahead or 5,000 years ahead. So we want it to grow as slow as possible. So therefore we want small blocks. I didn't necessarily agree with like that it was a good idea to make blocks 4 megabytes instead of 1 after SegWit.
Well, the SegWit witnessed this.
I would have probably preferred for them to still be maximum 1 megabyte and not 4. So I think that these are the things I never hear in these debates. Like, I know I can't do very little about it because it is the way it is, but like from a monetary perspective, from someone who wants Bitcoin to function as money for as long as possible, you want blocks to be small as possible, and you want there to be absolutely as little shit in them as possible.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, the block size minimization per block is a desirable thing, so that node runners don't have to store as much data. Now, that said, I want to be the objective reporter here. Let's not talk about like.
I'd love to hear your
thoughts. I have thoughts on it, and maybe we can get into that later. But the key thing there is that for you, the cost of storing that extra data a little bit longer when blocks aren't full is high enough because of its like sort of foreverness.
It would inevitably make the running a new node
a little bit harder or whatever. I think what people like Merch would say is that is like so tiny and so marginal. Is it really worth doing? Because it is so tiny.
And that's because I think I extrapolate this further ahead into the future than he does. Like, and maybe I'm wrong to do that. I'm not like judging him or anything like that. But if this is to be a forever project, then keeping the chain as small as possible is crucial.
Well, no, we agree with that. That's why it was obvious to us fork would win back in the block size wars debate in 2017. By the way, Adam Back is DMing me and us. He agrees with me, by the way, on the size of the blockchain. Just say it. Okay, so let's get on to the slightly more.
Well, no. I mean, he's talking about the margin. He's not talking about what you were saying.
About full blocks, and he's talking about using this at all.
And we are in the margin.
I hope that no one ever puts a 100 kilobyte thing in the thing. Maybe
they honestly, I think someone's will eventually do it.
Somebody's already put something like 79,000.
So someone's gonna do it, but
now we're gonna have to at least download that to start a new node forever.
But if Bitcoin was actually used as money all over the world, blocks would have been full, and we were still downloading the same number of data.
This is where I'm gonna disagree a little bit, because I think part of why the blocks aren't full is because we have so many effective second layers. So like when you're saying stuff like "I wish the blocks were full," it's like, well, no, like the efficiency gains from stuff like Lightning is actually a very good thing.
Yes, it's superb. It's exactly what we want. That's why we built Lightning in the first place. Or we didn't build Lightning.
So
at least I didn't. But anyway.
So I'm gonna play a slightly bigger devil's advocate here. So as much as we all dislike Ethereum, right?
Yeah.
And Ethereum is still a thing, and that token is still worth a lot of money. So Ethereum clearly had some kind of use case.
I wouldn't call it a token.
Well,
it's not a money
I wouldn't
token.
call it a use case unless you're counting scams.
No,
but
Sure.
yeah, exactly. It still has a value to people who want to scam other people.
But what exactly is, other than the moral problem, right? This little bit of extra data, just let them put their crap on there and it increases the price of Bitcoin. If this captures some of that Ethereum's market cap.
How does it increase the price of Bitcoin? You got to explain that.
Well, why does Ethereum even have a value?
Because there are idiots out there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
So,
but I mean, if you put Ethereum on Bitcoin, your argument is that would increase the price of Bitcoin?
We're not putting Ethereum on Bitcoin, right?
Uh-huh.
But all of this shit coining that has been happening on Bitcoin for the last 3 years, 4 years, since like Taproot and Segwit Witness, you don't think that's increased the market cap of Bitcoin at all? You think it will? You think it's done more damage to Bitcoin?
yes,
Or do you think it actually increased the value of the Bitcoin?
I think the damage outweighs the gains. I wouldn't mind if it took another 100 years for Bitcoin to go up in value, if that's what it takes. I want it to be used as money and to gain value that way, not through fooling people that it is something that it isn't. Like,
I really don't think you can make an assertion either way, because there's so many like what ifs and unknowns on this particular thing. It's like, okay, if we didn't have inscriptions, would the Bitcoin price be higher?
Wait,
is what you're asking.
No, but we have Ethereum as a use case that the value of Ethereum is high because of things like inscriptions on Bitcoin. That's literally Ethereum's only use case, right?
Okay.
And it created a market cap for Ethereum. So it's not like it's a random question. It is a legit question that if shitcoining created such a big market cap for Ethereum, a little bit of ability of shitcoining on the Bitcoin network, not that I'm advocating for this, by the way. I'm just saying that a little bit of shitcoining on the Bitcoin network, you don't, I know you don't care.
No,
but
I do care.
You acknowledge that, yes, it would have had a positive effect on the price, because Ethereum is literally has 10 years of doing this, unfortunately, and it's still going.
This is what I talked about in the beginning. This is what's mispricing Bitcoin as money. So even if that is in a number go up direction, so Bitcoin gains a ton of value because it's now being used as Ethereum, it will inevitably crash at some point. So the only thing you did, that part of it will crash. So what all you did was make Bitcoin more volatile and not more valuable, not more actually valuable. I'd prefer if Bitcoin slowly gains value, and for what it is, for people understanding what it is and why it's actually valuable. And that should make people value it more and more over time.
So your argument is more that, like, even if it did cause a price rise, that it's actually bad for Bitcoin in the end, because it detracts from the monetary use case.
And it creates people who want to day trade, and all you get is volatility and not actual value.
Yeah, I wouldn't even concede the hey, it's increased the coin price, because what we know about Ethereum, Solana, and all these other coins is that they spend a ton of money on marketing. All their VCs are pumping it, and it's because of that the money that those go up, not these quote unquote use cases around these things.
In hindsight, I love the shit coins, because at least they weren't doing it on Bitcoin. Like, in hindsight, it's fucking excellent. I want them back. Like, fool people on other chains, please, not on our chain. Our chain is sacred. So yes, this is another thing I wanted to bounce with you, Jimmy, and that is, we had a conversation about utilitarianism versus principles once, and I think I got the viewpoint. If you have a low enough time preference, principles become utilitarian. If you have an infinite, if you have a time preference that is going towards forever, what's the mathematical term? Like
an infinite series or something.
then the utility for you is maximized because being principled is
right.
better.
Because you don't discount the future that much,
No.
and therefore the further out it is, the more valuable it becomes compared to somebody else.
Which is what we want Bitcoin to be: principled and not useful to someone right now as some other shit. So this utilitarianism on Bitcoin doesn't work because we want the lowest possible time preference kind of utilitarianism, which is the principled approach.
Yeah.
This is a bit of philosophical.
Well, let me try to rephrase it in a way maybe that you would agree with. The idea of a lot of the core positions. So, for example, increasing op return to 100K and stuff like that, and allowing inscriptions by not putting in some sort of policy thing to eliminate them or something like that. That is ultimately high time preference behavior because they just don't want to deal with it right now. Whereas for you, it's worth doing because it's going to last for a very long time, and the less you discount the future, the more valuable standing on that principle becomes.
Exactly, and I think I would hope that core developers were the most principled, most low time preference people out there. Like, I would wish for that to be the case. I don't know if it is. I suspect it isn't. I'm not going to trash talk the people in core. I think they've done great work over the years, and there's a ton of them. Like, it's not this cabal of just 10 people in a room scheming and are easily bought off. There's a ton of contributors and stuff. So I'm not trying to diminish their value. I'm just this is just my opinion, man. It's true. Like, I want the shit to disappear, and I think the best way of doing that is not running core or not. It's to actually educate people on why they shouldn't fall for these scams.
Well, it's more that you want to discourage the non-monetary use cases of Bitcoin as much as possible.
Call them use cases. The use case is scamming people. That's the only use case. It's the selling stars in Andromeda Galaxy and painting dick butts on the telescope. Calling it a use case is giving it too much credit.
So you won't even concede that much, okay?
No, I don't call it. It's only a use case to the scammer. Do you agree?
Yeah. Well, so I think what you're saying, and let me again try to rephrase to see if I can reflect back what you're saying. The main thing is that when you have a something else on Bitcoin like inscriptions or stamps or ordinals or BRC20 or whatever, those things ultimately aren't really part of Bitcoin, right? Like they require some other software to go and look at, and it's not Bitcoin software, so it has to be a third party. Yeah, it's third party software, and they do something else. And ultimately, they are costing node runners in some, whether it's small or big, like they're costing something to the node runner whose only real use case that they see is the monetary use case. Yep. And for you, that sort of removing that incentive, removing those supposed use cases is very important, because if you go on a long enough timeline, then and you discount the future less and less as a result of low time preference, then the more valuable it becomes presently, and therefore the harder you should fight some of this spam.
And also, they're claiming that the reason they put it on Bitcoin is because it's immutable, so it'll be there forever. Right? The irony of that is the more they do this, the less people will care about running nodes, because people want to run nodes to secure the monetary network. They don't want to run nodes to store other people's data. So the more data you put on the chain.
But again,
can I just finish the point, please?
Data. This is
no,
bothering me.
No. It is more data than no spam. I'm talking about spam versus no spam, not nodes versus core. So I'm talking about spam or no spam. Like
if you have less spam, there's less data.
Yeah,
right?
that's what
I mean. I don't think you can really dispute that.
We can't dispute. We're literally Adam Back is literally texting us disputing this, right? Because you're not.
No, he's not. I don't think you're understanding his comment.
I don't think Adam is disputing that. I know Adam, and Adam does not want spam on Bitcoin.
Yeah, if you have less spam,
He
you
has-
have less
he has
data. I don't
another-
think that's
He has
controversial.
another view than me on how to fight spam, but he does not want spam on Bitcoin. I can say that for Adam.
Nobody
without-
wants spam on Bitcoin. Okay?
Yes,
I don't
yes,
want spam
some
on
people
Bitcoin
do
either.
want spam on Bitcoin. The spammers want spam on
The
Bitcoin.
spammers want
Yes.
spam on Bitcoin,
Yeah.
sure.
And how
Yeah,
ca- the question we should be asking ourselves is, what the hell can we do to stop them?
But again,
What's the least we could do?
I'm gonna keep saying it. Your node will store a maximum of up to 4 megabytes of data per block.
Yeah, but
Okay, this change does not alter that.
yeah,
Right, right,
you're
but
still
it
arguing
not-
as if all
that's-
blocks are full.
Yeah,
Again,
that
assuming the blocks are full.
Again,
Why are
you're
you making that assumption.
There
Yes.
is space in the block, and we're all prepared for that space to be full.
Yeah, but we don't necessarily want that to be full. Like, why would
well,
we
you want to
it be
minimize
full?
the amount of data that you store. Is
Yeah.
is his
That's my point.
Right? Yeah.
So we'll deal with full blocks when that happens.
Mhm.
Full-
Which
I
has
mean,
happened.
Yeah, but I mean full of transactions.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But right now, like the bigger thing here is teach people not to buy these things, because
Mm-hmm.
that will make them stop. Because if you can't sell them, then they'll stop because they're costly to put there. So that's
So the
even
more
important.
friction you put in, the less.
Yeah, and the
less
more
they're
the
going
more
to
you
transact with
educate
them.
people,
Okay.
there will always be fools.
Mhm.
But this is why I think stuff like this. Why I love telling people about this,
Mm-hmm.
because if I can save one poor sucker from being scammed by these idiots, then I will be happy.
Mhm.
So the thing I was getting at was like the node. So your incentive to run a node is that you want to don't trust verify. You want your incoming Bitcoin to be verified by you and no one else, right? That's why you want to run the node.
Exactly.
Primarily.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if then if that ability comes with a caveat of okay, if you want to do that, then you also have to store Winnie the Pooh's dick butt here,
Mhm.
or whatever it is. You have to store some other shit. Then the incentive to run the node becomes slightly lower.
Mhm.
That you won't find this as attractive to run a node as you would have had that thing not been there.
Mhm.
It's a complicated sentence, but I think you get the
Well,
gist of it.
the marginal
Yeah.
the cost
So
of
the
storing
irony-
that
so
is
the-
high enough.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the irony is that the more shit you put there, the less likely it is that people run nodes. So the less likely it is that they're actually there forever, because it's an actual attack.
Wait,
vector.
I'm gonna push back on this, because you just said the primary reason to run a node is to validate your own transactions. How is that part affected with this change of operator?
If people were only doing that, if they were only running nodes to validate monetary transactions.
No, but again, I don't really care why people are running nodes. The most important reason for running a node is to validate your own transaction.
Yeah.
That is by far and
No, no, no.
away the most
The
important
transaction I
reason.
receive.
Correct. That is like on a scale of 1 to 100, right? That would be near 100. And every other reason for running a node is somewhere in single digits.
Yes, but that's
Okay.
what I mean.
And that most important part, by infinite amount, is not altered with this op return limit removal.
This is where we disagree, because I think it is altered. If I'm forced to do a bunch of other shit, then the incentive to run the node is slightly lower. It gets lower the more shit I have to store, rather than just verify monetary transactions. It is costlier to start up a new node now, since after February 2023, the chain has grown. So it takes more time to download everything from after February 2023 than everything before it. Right. So starting up a
agreed.
new node is costlier, meaning that fewer people will do it. It's follow the money, follow the incentives. It's pretty simple.
We're going to be running in circles over the same argument. I agree with you, right? But we're prepared for this, right? We've had a 1 megabyte limit on the block, but we can't go back in time, right? We can say that adding witness data was a mistake.
Yeah.
It should have never there should have Bitcoin cores, potentially Bitcoin
It
cores
came with a
biggest.
bug.
Again, debatable if it was a bug.
To me, it was.
Clearly stated this is not a bug. This was discussed. It's a feature, right? Now, right, you disagree with the feature, obviously, okay? Now, we can probably, in hindsight, agree that one of the main reasons why the block increase happened in 2017 was to appease the big block. We're not happy with the appeasement that took place with SegWit, and they could, get rid of core and have the longest chain, right?
Yeah.
But in order to prevent a contentious fork, soft fork, hard fork, doesn't matter. In order to prevent a fork of the chain, core developers increased the block size from 1 megabyte to 4 megabytes with SegWit. That might have been a mistake. But when that happened, all of us that fought in the 2017 block size wars, were you involved? Were you vocal in that time?
I
or
was
you,
vocal.
you were following, or you were already had a follow? But were you just following, or
run a
you
note.
had a following?
I didn't run a note. I had to follow. The first article I ever wrote was about how to get your own keys, basically.
And when did you write that?
Just before the beacon. It's not my first article.
Okay.
It's like a year
Okay.
into my article writing, and it's about how to receive your own keys in order to be able to get the Bitcoin Cash tokens to sell them immediately.
Okay.
So
you during the block size wars, that's when you first started becoming a public person.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
So you were there in but you probably didn't have a large following at the time.
No, this is the first article that went like semi-viral.
Okay,
so that had like 70,000
Okay, so
reads.
the point I'm trying to make, I know it's taking me a while to make this point.
Yeah.
Since 2017, we all are prepared to store up to 4 megabytes of data, every
Of
10
transactions,
minutes,
Like-
right? We're prepared
Yeah.
for storing that amount of data.
Yeah.
Collectively, we were all on the same side.
Yeah.
We were all on the same side. The winning side was all on the same side, that we are willing to store up to 4 megabytes of data on our node for the rest of eternity every 10 minutes.
Yep.
And the argument I'm trying to make is this op return limit removal does not change something we were all prepared to do since 2017. What has changed?
Here's what I disagree.
What has changed is people don't like what type of data it is.
No. We agreed to store 4 megabytes of monetary data, not data. Monetary data. That's what people thought they were getting into. And then there was an exploit. And the exploit is putting other data than monetary data on Bitcoin. So that's what people need to get through their heads. It is not what we agreed to. It is something else. It's an exploit, or a bug, if you will. Maybe an exploit is a better word.
Yeah.
No, but I just want to make it clear so people understand our viewpoints. So,
so I think the viewpoint, if I may, that you're saying is, okay, in 2017, we said SegWit we're going to calculate the size of a block using V-bytes, and you get a SegWit discount and all that stuff. And that was an agreed to thing on the network.
To incentivize.
To incentivize usage of SegWit and all that stuff, and
consolidation.
Yeah, and you have prunability with the witness field and stuff like that, which makes it this is what we discussed with merch.
Everyone's calling me a shitcoiner in the comments, guys.
What? It's well. Let me just say what I think Knut is saying. The difference is that is definitely a limit, right? Like we do have the 1 megabyte normal byte or 4 virtual megabytes of data in every block that we've agreed to, but that's not necessarily the only limit that we should have. I think the position that you come in is, okay, well, that's legal, so whoever uses it is fine. I think for Knut, what he's saying is that should only be used for monetary transactions, and anything beyond that, it should.
I understand Knut's position, right? I'm just trying to make it clear that since 2017, since the block size wars, I'm talking for myself, right? I'm not here to speak for anyone else. Since 2017, I have mentally accepted the fact that the Bitcoin blockchain will grow at 4 megabytes every 10 minutes. And I am
It wouldn't be. It's for
At a
virtual
maximum.
by virtual
Right,
megabytes.
I know,
yeah.
I know. We're not,
Maximum
I don't
4
want to get
megabytes.
into the semantics of the code, right? But
Can grow.
I can grow,
Yeah.
sure. I have mentally prepared for that and physically prepared for that, making sure that the node that I'm running has enough storage capacity to store these blocks that could have been full every single block since that day, right? That was the conscious effort. Now, 8 years later, people, it might be me as well. Again, I'm trying to be as neutral as possible. Are just upset as to what type of data is being stored there because there's not enough financial data that needs to be stored there, right? But from a technical perspective, and this is why I push back every time people say, I don't want to store extra data. Well, if you didn't want to store extra data, you should have been fighting the SegWit block size increase back in 2017, but yet none of us were.
No,
We were all happy
I don't think that's
with
that.
the increase.
I don't think that's fair because like when people did that, like Knut said, it was based on monetary transactions.
It was marketed as monetary.
and then like people sort of abused it, and getting rid of that abuse, I think if it can be done.
Well, it's
right?
not like they abused it because they priced out monetary transactions. There's just not enough
Yes.
monetary transactions there.
They did price out many times. Like
Especially during the full blocks. For sure,
halving,
yeah.
for instance, I had a CoinJoin transaction stuck for 3 months because of this crap.
Well,
Like,
no, but that's because the forker side, like the Roger Veers and the Craig.
It's 2023. This is
2023.
Oh, this is the
Yeah,
Yeah, the 2024, right?
yeah.
the 20 the
Yeah,
halving.
the halving.
Yeah, during
This
the halving,
last
right.
halving.
Right.
Because the scammers could more easily scam people because they could say that we're selling an NFT in this exact halving block or something.
Mhm.
So before and after that, it was really, really expensive. Because of spam and scammers and
Yeah.
people and the idiots who they could own a star in the Andromeda Galaxy.
But I don't see how that this changed it, right? If that happened back then,
Yeah.
right? It could happen at any time. This opportunity
Which is why
limit
we should
doesn't
fight
alter
it.
this.
No, but I'm not arguing for the specifically for the opportune limit. I'm saying that what I started this conversation with is like order of importance here. First is teach people why shitcoins are shit. Make people economically literate with everything you have. The second biggest problem is probably minor decentralization. So try to fix that. And third thing is like core versus knots. In my, it's the least important thing here, really. I don't think Core 30 will kill Bitcoin because I don't buy the doomsday scenarios that much. But and also it might not kill Bitcoin because this BIP 444 or something like it takes off, and soft fork tightens the rules, right? I want to tighten the rules. I want a good soft fork to be written so we can all agree that tightening the rules is good. Because the more we signal to the shitcoiners that they are welcome in our chess club, as the analogy goes, the more shitcoiners there will be there, and the harder it will be for us to fight them. So why are we giving them an inch?
I don't think so, because I think the shitcoining is actually reducing, not increasing. I think enough people have learned their lesson, and I just don't see shitcoining increasing the way it has been before.
So why change the upturn in that case? If it's doing less and less damage, why change the filter?
I don't agree with. I'm not happy with version 30. I just don't see it as big of a deal, right? Okay, let's get to the root of the. Let's get to a more pressing issue.
All right.
The soft fork that you've mentioned and BIP 444.
Yeah.
Do you see any dangers to the Bitcoin ecosystem by pushing for these radical things? Because a soft fork is radical, and in hindsight, we were risking a lot back in 2017, and I really ready to relive that experience again.
There's absolutely a risk. There's a risk, but is it bigger than the risk of doing nothing? That's what you have to weigh. That's the options you have. There's always a risk to doing nothing. There's always a risk to doing something. It's like updating firmware. Sometimes the risk, it's a bigger risk to update
so
it.
let's talk about these risks, right?
Like-
Because all I see on the internet is, let's push for the soft fork. Let's do this BIP 444. And everyone pushing for these things never discusses the potential risks that could come. Have you thought about
There's
them?
a lot of talk about the risks, and I don't think that soft fork will happen. What I do like is the talk about the soft fork, because what that can and inevitably will do is scare spammers. I saw a snippet of some type of YouTube thing with some Bitcoin magazine people talking about, holy shit, this is the first time that they're trying to change the rules so that they invalidate actual transactions. And they were scared shitless because they are the scammers. So we scared them. And I think about the Starship Troopers meme, like, it's afraid. And I like that. I want the spammers and scammers to be afraid, because maybe they'll get their fucking act together and stop fucking abusing Bitcoin, which is a tool for their children and their children's children to have forever. Respect it, for fuck's sake. It's humanity's best shot at sound money for the world. I want the abusers to stop abusing. And if I see that they are scared because we're proposing a soft fork, then I'm proposing the soft fork. Not necessarily pro the actual soft fork, but pro scaring them and pro like doing anything we can to change their behavior.
Yeah, so I think to sum up your position, you want to kick out the spammers and make it as difficult as possible. And I think what we got from the interview with Merch is that he's like, I don't really care that much because the damage they can do is limited because of the block size limit and so on. And I think those are like reasonable views, honestly, to hold. It's just that from your perspective, the monetary use case of Bitcoin is the main thing, and that trumps everything else. And to concede almost anything for any other use case is kind of is not welcome. It's something out. It's putting bars all over the house and making it so that only the right kind of transactions can come in. Is that a reasonable summary of your position?
That's a very good summary.
Okay.
Would you say that Merch's position is more utilitarian and mine more principled, or is mine more confused?
I think the way he described it really is more utilitarian in that regard, because he's like, well, the amount of spam is actually not that much. It can be pruned. It can be, like, you can still run it. You don't have to. Especially a segregated witness field, like it's not used for signatures.
Here's the thing about pruning. Back in the block wars, when Ethereum had its first and by far largest peak, like it never went up to half of that in Bitcoin terms, so it's a long, slow rug pull. Then they talked about pruning nodes, and Bitcoiners were pointing out left and right that a pruned node is not a full node. Like pruning should be avoided if we can. Like it's better if people have the entire fucking thing, because then other people can download that from them. Like pruning should not be like something that we. Why is this a tool in the Bitcoin toolbox now when it didn't have to? When it wasn't back then? Maybe.
Well, no, prune nodes have been around since 2014 almost.
I know they've been around, but people that there are different, values.
So there. Let's just agree on terminology here. A full node is one that can validate any transaction that comes in. So typically that includes prune nodes. An archival node is one that has every transaction so that they can assist in initial block download for somebody else. So for a lot of Bitcoiners, it's important for them to run an archival node so that they know the entire history. Although with a prune node, you can still validate transactions.
If there are more prune nodes and fewer archival nodes, then the ability to download a new node from the network is slightly smaller.
And it gets more centralized, the archival node.
This is the forever. So like we want blocks, we want as many full archival nodes as possible. When we want to incentivize that kind of behavior, we don't necessarily want to incentivize people to prune their nodes. And also, in the initial download, you have to prune it after you download the thing, right? So you can't prune it before you download it. You still have to download the thing once, which makes the cost of firing up a new node higher forever.
So all of these small marginal costs that Merch was saying, hey, these aren't a big deal for you because of the the foreverness, the sort of low time preference that you have.
And this
those
away. All these things that we thought of as sacred back.
Right. So for you, from an economic, those are all significantly larger costs than maybe somebody like Merch. Okay.
Like if the economics perspective here is an F perspective, because that's why we love Bitcoin. We want sound money for the world, and like the damn near perfect money, or at least the best form of money. We don't want that to be worse. Like if we can avoid it becoming deteriorating, we should.
Okay, so let's get back to the hard question. By the way, I do want to clarify, like I didn't want to, I wasn't like avoiding the prior question when Knut asked me why did they remove the op return limit. I can't speak for them, but as I just stated before Knut asked me that question, when I said that I see shitcoining as reading and not seeing. So by that logic, it's relevant that this op return limit has been removed, because I don't see Bitcoin being used for potentially being used for shitcoining in the short term, with the blocks being empty. And I'm not scared of it, and I just don't care. And I'll make my position a little more clear in the future, because I personally think the risks of pushing for a fork are greater.
Which is why I said I love the push for the fork. I don't necessarily love the fork.
Yeah,
itself.
so I think you guys have like different prices on various things, right? Like, so the marginal data for Knut is significantly higher because of the foreverness.
Correct.
For you, not so much, because you
Not
already
so much.
have a lot of hardware, and you can handle it, and you've been planning it for, even if it's 4 megabytes for every block for the next 5 years, you have the hardware to handle
that was
it.
the social contract I agreed to when I was pushing for the user activated source fork.
And fair enough. And the key though is that you put different prices on these things, and that's a legitimate sort of way to think about it from an economics perspective, is that different actors have different prices on different.
And why should my node
For you,
relay shit? Like I don't want my node to relay shit, so I have my
valid
parameters. saying
valid
that
ethical position. So now, hard questions coming.
Yeah.
You said that you don't believe the soft fork would succeed. Did I hear that right, or not really?
Not really.
Okay.
I
Explain the position of, because you are promoting knots, and
Am I?
are you?
I lean towards the knot side, but
You lean towards the knot side.
Yeah. I wouldn't say that I'm a knots pro. I do not. The disclaimer: I do not work for knots. Mechanic is a good friend, but
by saying I do not work for knots, you're making it sound like knots is a central identity.
No, but like the bigger thing that I think that camp is doing is like the important thing is datum and fixing centralized mining.
Oh, agreed. That'd be great.
That is fantastic.
I agree with that.
I'm much more pro that than I'm pro not.
Sure.
Like
Okay.
So let's make that clear first.
Okay.
However, right now I think running knots is a better alternative than running core at this moment in time. But that doesn't mean.
But
that
it
I
doesn't
think that forever.
prevent any of this spam from being mined.
No, it doesn't. Well, if it makes it slightly costlier, then that's good enough.
But how does it do that?
Even by signaling, that's why I say that I like the threat of the hard fork, but not threat of the soft fork, not necessarily the soft fork itself, because anything we can do to make spammers change their minds and think twice about what they're doing is worth doing. In my
but
anything, if it's just signaling, yeah.
Knut?
Yeah.
but you're playing a game of chicken
Mhm.
and creating, by playing this game of chicken, it's dividing Bitcoin maxis and creating this massive, I mean,
No, not really.
the divide in the space, which really bothering me. I don't know if it's bothering other people, right? Because I just don't like this game of chicken to, oh, it'll keep the spammers away. In the meantime, there's people, you know, calling everybody every name in the book,
but-
blocking each other
okay.
on Twitter, heated debates. People are becoming enemies that used to be friends.
No, but they're just showing the
You-
true colors.
but
Like, so this is the way I view this. Sure, maybe
it's like dividing the Bitcoin network more than
but
it's scaring the
I
scammers.
want to divide it into Bitcoiners and shitcoiners. I don't want people who think shitcoining is okay to be in the Bitcoin community at all. Like, I personally don't want that. Then again, I don't want a lot of people on the not side who are fear mongering too much. I wish that they would change their behavior too, and I wish they wouldn't fear monger so much. I wish people were nicer in general to one another. But I do like that this debate is happening because it is increasing awareness of a lot of things for a lot of people. And that's the big benefit of this conversation. More people are running nodes than ever. More people are learning about Bitcoin than ever. Those are all good things. And Bitcoin has always looked like this. It's always been a lot of infighting. There's always been chaotic. There's nothing wrong with that per se. And I don't think we have to be enemies. But yeah, some of the people who have been here for a long time have also for a long time been questionable with their intentions with Bitcoin. People that have invested in that are invested in these companies and these ordinal companies and stuff, they are, in my view, bad actors, and I don't mind at all if they fuck off and do their shit somewhere else. In fact, I want them to.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, so the difference here, if I may, I think is that for Tone, the even bringing up the possibility of a soft fork is a big price to pay for, possibly discouraging spammers. For you, it's not. You again, you have different prices.
Yeah.
On the action being taken, and you have different evaluations, which I think is normal in any economic endeavor, is that people put different prices on things, and you get sort of disagreement. But in the end, what's happening is that you do have a lot of people that do disagree. Now you can put a price on, like, okay, is the disagreement net negative? Is that bad? I mean, some people, I think Adam said this on our first show, was, hey, I like the fact that people are passionate about this. That means that they really care about Bitcoin.
No, and I agree with Adam 100%.
Yeah, I agree too. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but what may come out is that you do have a lot of fighting, and who knows, maybe we do have a soft fork or something like that, which would be catastrophic, or maybe not. Maybe it's really good. The key here is that we're all individual actors, and we have different sort of like evaluations on what is going to happen or how it'll actually come to pass. I suspect none of us are fully correct on any of that. And really, like, how it actually plays out is actually how it plays out, right? Like what people do, what actions they take. This is the key to your favorite saying about praxeology. Humans act, and they try to affect the future, and we don't. And this is completely kind of unpredictable because we don't really know how people act and what their values are and what their evaluation scores are on all this stuff. So in a sense, I'm glad we did this episode because, like, I think Knut is bringing
in hindsight.
Well, so like the fact that you're able to sort of like put a price on certain things and say, okay, well, if we're going to keep this data forever, then, and you have low enough time preference, then the costs start to matter instead of hand waving it away. As maybe some people on the core side might. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but like that's Knut's prerogative to have that price on extra data versus other people that might not. And that's like Tone, it seems like doesn't put as high a price on like keeping that data forever. and so on. So for me, that's what I'm getting out of this conversation, is that people have different prices on different things, and that's okay. And that's probably a lot of the disagreement that we have.
It's a good summary.
Yeah.
And by the way, I've agreed with a lot of your views on this, especially like the when you like in hindsight, maybe Taproot wasn't such a good idea. Like I buy that completely. I was excited about it when it happened because I talked a lot to people in the privacy part of the community then, and like it is super good for that. But it came with a lot of unintended side effects, and I wouldn't have minded if things took longer. I don't mind things taking a long time with Bitcoin. In fact, I think we should want it to take a long time and only make changes when they're absolutely 100% necessary, even mempool policy changes or default changes, not like changes to Bitcoin. Every single change to Bitcoin does affect someone's behavior somewhere. You cannot change the smallest parameter without having a butterfly effect on someone's decision about something somewhere, which is why, you know, hands off. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. If it is broke, fix the thing that is broken. Don't say that it's not broken and pretend that it's not broken. Don't fix the broken rib with a Photoshop of the X-ray. Like it's super simple. I want the real problem to be fixed, and the real problem is that Bitcoin is being used for other things than monetary transactions. And if we can fix that, we should. I'm not convinced myself that it can be fixed, but I think we can discourage it, and I think we should.
All right, I'll leave it there. Like I have a lot more to say, but I'm saving it. Hey, Jimmy, so after we're done with, you mentioned, I don't remember if it was before air or on air, you said in about 2 weeks, you will make your position on the situation very clear.
A lot clearer than now. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we're going to stick to a few of these interviews. And then you and I will do the final show where you state your position very clearly, and I will state my position very clearly.
All right,
and they may be similar or they may be very different. But we will bring you a few more episodes. I don't want to give too much away on my position. People can start guessing. You guys can call me a shitcoiner, which I'm obviously not. But like again, the term shitcoiner has gone from you're creating blockchains and creating tokens to you're inscribing some stuff in the Bitcoin blockchain to now, I don't care if it's there, and suddenly that makes you a shitcoiner. So
you're not a shitcoiner.
No. But just like talk about moving the goalposts, though, right? Like I'm going to be a little adversarial to the audience here, right? Like
I think what they're saying is that you're if you don't care about a particular type of thing that enables shitcoins, then in a sense you're a shitcoin enabler. Maybe that's
an apologist.
Or something like that. I think that like if I'm reading their comments more charitably, I think that's where it would be. Not that you're trading in a meme coin called Tone or something, right? Like that's not what's happening.
Anyway, guys, we're gonna try to bring you one more of these with Giacomo Zucco tomorrow. I got one really awesome guest lined up. Actually, we have 2 guests lined up, and after that, it may be our closing thoughts. So Jimmy and I will coordinate. We'll bring on as many guests as we can until it's time for us to do a one-on-one episode, which could be the longest one ever, where Jimmy and I discuss our views on the situation.
A final point. I just want to thank you for your comeback here, and I think you're doing a great job. This whole series has been fantastic. I've been glued to YouTube before you even asked me to do this. I feel humbled to sit shoulder to shoulder with giants, metaphorical giants.
I'm pretty big. I'm pretty big. Phone's a little shorter, but you know.
Good. Anyway, I think it's a great thing, and I love that you're doing this. I'm looking forward to hearing the conclusions and see how this all plays out. And run a node and brush your teeth, and see you in the next one.
We've only been on for an hour 20. It feels like it's been longer.
Yeah, it's a lot different when you're in person.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, because I mean, this probably like the shortest one. Maybe Bob Burnett was shorter, but Yeah.
Hey Jimmy, I don't think this is a question you want to entertain, but you just read it and then you can say, don't even read the question, and then if you want to answer it or not, it's up to you. I think you should ignore it.
I'm gonna ignore it.
Excellent.
I have no desire.
Just
to-
wanted to- oh, actually, I
of course
did,
you're sharing it on the screen.
No,
so
but
people
everyone
see
saw it
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
audience. I think it's a terrible question. I don't want Jimmy to
Take it away.
entertain that question
I mean,
either.
it's
It was also tweeted out and you were tagged, so it's
okay. Oh, so trying to get my attention. That's
yeah.
that's a
I
great way to
wasn't
have me ignore you. So yeah.
I actually didn't realize I was already on screen share. I was gonna
Uh,
bring back Knut's Twitter, which is why I went to Twitter in the first
Okay.
place.
Yeah, there you go.
And then follow Knut on Twitter. And thanks so much for joining the show.
Yeah, good stuff,
And,
man. Thank you for the economic perspective. I think that was one that we really didn't have. So, but I'm glad that we did this one, and we'll have.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Giacomo's Venn diagram.
Yeah, that's great. He'll be our next guest, so it'll be. I don't know if we can come up with a CPAM acronym that would work, but you know, we'll see if we can.
All right. Giacomo is going to be a fun interview. Thank you so much, guys, and catch us again tomorrow. We're gonna look. If I'm gonna ask controversial questions to both sides, right? I'm gonna play the side of the spammer scammer when we have someone that's pro knots, and I'm gonna play the opposite side when we have someone that's pro core. So we'll see where the series goes. Thank you all for watching.
Okay.
Let me get off screen share and see you all.